Hello, Brynne.
Hello, Stan. How are you?
Awesome. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yes, it is. It's beautiful for sure. It's a great summer day.
Yes, indeed. So today we're going to be talking about triggers, specifically 7 ways to leverage Sales Navigator's triggers to start conversations. Now, there are a lot more than 7 available triggers, but we're going to focus on just 7 of them today. And as always, we talk about the fact that Sales Navigator is designed to help you find the right people, gather business intelligence about them, and alert you to potential opportunities to start sales conversations,
Yeah,
which is why it's an amazing
absolutely. And
tool.
I love that you use the word triggers because that's a perfect way to think about this, right? It's, something happens and it triggers us to create an engagement, to start a conversation. And that is ultimately what we want, especially if we're using Sales Navigator for business development. We want to start conversations. I can't tell you how many of our clients come to us initially and they basically say, "Okay, I see this happened. They liked something, they engaged on something, they shared. Now what?" So we're going to talk about the now what today. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. And for all of you who are watching, as you probably know, we're not both Stan Robinson Jr. That's me. And yep,
Oh,
we
that's so funny.
we love technology. Yeah, so we're twins today, and I'm here with my
I'll
twin,
take it. If
Brynne.
I'm going to be mistaken for
Y-
someone, best to be you, my friend.
That's funny. I just noticed that. So good. So we're gonna jump into first with accounts. And what we're going to be talking about are the alert features, both under accounts and under leads. So we're going to start with accounts because accounts are companies. There are always different things going on, whether companies are in the news or they're funding events or they're growing or they're shrinking, whatever the case may be. One of the alerts that you get right on your home page, you just have to click on account alerts, hit the drop down, you'll see news. So if an account has been in the news, hopefully for good
Mhm.
reasons,
That's a good one.
you'll see. Yes, it's a little bit hard to start a conversation around some of the other reasons. But if an account is growing, has acquired another company, has done something good in the social sphere, whatever the case may be, that is a good
Mhm.
opportunity for you to reach out to your connections at that account, basically to congratulate them on what their company is doing. And so that's one opportunity to start conversations. Brynne, any thoughts just on good news
Yeah. Well,
about
so I
accounts?
also first want to share that, in Sales Navigator, when you save accounts or you save leads in their accounts, you are fed that information into your homepage and you can filter that information. And that's one of the things about Sales Navigator that's really powerful is it's not a very noisy newsfeed. About 90% of what you're seeing is content that you requested because you saved an account or saved a lead. So that's really very important when you're thinking about using Sales Navigator. We're now talking about accounts, right? These are the companies we've saved. And here's the good news. So, how do we do this? We have this good news. We click on accounts. Maybe we find out like often it's a press release. They emerged, they bought a company, sometimes they brought on a new CEO, whatever it is. Often this good news, is comes through and you go, now what? Well, it's pretty simple. Grab that good news. Go to the original source. You'll be able to link through it in Sales Navigator to wherever that source was. And I think I'm probably jumping ahead to in the news too. Like I'm kind of doing both, but I don't mean
No,
to do
that's
that. I
okay.
realize as I'm talking, I'm sort of overlapping too. But let's say the press release goes to their website. Let's do that. So we want to start with the website and we want to grab that link and send the link back to your prospect. So let's say you're going after a big company. There's a good chance they're not aware of this piece, this update, this good news that has come through. Um, and I'm wondering if I hope I'm not overlapping too. You'll stop me.
No, you're good because yeah, because we're on news now, so you're
Oh,
right on point.
good. I
Yep.
love when I'm paying attention. All right, so what, even if it's a third party piece of news, maybe they won an award. Most people inside the company are unaware of the big things that are happening inside. When I started in sales, we didn't have these news features come in. I
Mhm.
got the Philadelphia Business Journal, and I'd go through it and cut out articles and stick post-it notes with my business card congratulating them on whatever happened in the news. Well, now we're going to do this digitally. We're going to grab that link and I'll say, Stan, I'm not sure if you're aware of this award that your company just won. Often in companies the size of yours, you can miss the good news, but I thought I'd share it with you. Um, and so, I hope you find it helpful. People are blown away that you took the time to do this, right? So we're using that to start a
Exactly.
conversation without being salesy. It's about them.
Yep, exactly. And I'm so glad that you talked at the beginning about the fact that all of these alerts are driven by the accounts, and we'll be talking about leads next, that you have
Mhm.
saved. So one thing that's super easy to forget to do is if you are working with existing accounts, please remember to save your existing accounts. Don't just save
Mhm.
new ones that you find when you're prospecting. Save all of your clients as well as your prospects. And if you're working with channel partners or any other types of partners, save those as well. Good idea to put them in different lists. We'll talk about that at another time. But thanks for the reminder to everybody, Brynne, to everything's driven by what you save, so don't forget about your existing
I
book
love
of
that.
business.
Perfect. What's next?
So next,
Hmm.
growth. Now, not everybody's growing, but when companies are increasing in terms of headcount, because LinkedIn has a great deal of information on headcount and these types of things, Sales Navigator has an alert about this company has increased headcount. There's a converse alert about this company unfortunately has decreased headcount, but either one of those can lead to opportunities for you. So if a company's growing, there may be opportunities for you to help them as part of their growth efforts. Brynne, see that
Yeah.
triggered
Oh,
something.
everything triggers something, right?
No pun intended.
I'm like, ooh, I love this. Okay, so what do we do? They're growing. So, what does this trigger mean to me? Well, think about your solution. How does your solution help a growing company? And by the way, I know once we see that, we could actually hop in to Sales Navigator inside of the account, look down, say what department is growing. Like we can drill down. So, the trigger that they're growing or they're shrinking can lead us to doing a deeper dive into what's going on inside of that company. So we that may not be enough information for us to immediately reach out, but it's enough information that we know there's movement. So how do we use this information? If they're growing, do they need more training? Do they need more telephones? Do they need more computers? Do they need more office space? Like, what's happening that will trigger and align with what you do? Now, the key here is to figure out some of these triggers and the value, and then create some kind of evergreen content, something that you can use to start a conversation. So, five, let's think of something. If 5 questions to ask your new remote employees to ensure your cybersecurity is X, right? Like, whatever it is that you do. So that you start a conversation around that trigger. And you can have a lot of different pieces. I'm a big fan of having content in a smart link hub. We'll talk about that at another time too, but so that we know who's looking at this. But we can start a conversation around, hey, Stan, noticed you guys are hiring pretty quickly. I'm not sure if they're mostly remote. It looks like some of them are, but if you're interested, I have a checklist to ensure that they're onboarded in a cybersecurity safe, if you're an MSP or whatever that is, right? Like, whatever you are doing. Shrinking, think about how you can help them there too, right? Are they shrinking, losing employees? Why? What's going on in the industry? And how can what you do supplement that? So let's say you're a marketing company and they just laid off all those marketers. Well, they still need marketing. Maybe it's worth outsourcing, right? So just bridge what you do to the trigger and then provide real value to them so that you've got them thinking differently about their current situation. And you're creating a compelling moment that can create a conversation, start a conversation.
Yep. Great. Thank you. Brynne, let me know what you think of this as well. When you're looking at content to create, the content doesn't necessarily always have to point back to your solution. If it can be content that just helps them do their job better, makes them look good, without necessarily saying, hey, use
Right.
us, but it's direct value to them, there you're also providing them with value, building relationships, positioning yourself as a resource.
100%. Just make sure your contact information is there. But that's it, right? Like in
Make
the
sure they know
footer,
where to
it
find
doesn't matter. But that's right. Make sure they know that you're the one that provided them that value. But 100%, we need to show up as a resource. We need to be a value, and a value does not mean we're selling our stuff. So that's a perfect way to think about this.
Very good. All righty. New decision makers. There's also an account alert for new decision makers when there are changes, and with changes come opportunities. So new decision makers, when they come in, they normally come in with some type of mandate. At a minimum, they're trying to prove themselves and make sure that their management knows that they made a good decision by bringing them on or promoting them or whatever the case may be. So how should we use new decision makers when Sales Nav says, hey, these are some new decision makers at your company?
So I really love that question. And I think, to your point, they're brought in to make a difference, right? They're brought in to make an impact. And they're much more likely to be open to new ideas that can help them succeed in that role. So, I keep going back to content. Content really does matter, but it doesn't always have to be original. I mean, it's great when you have some, but
Mhm.
let's say you've got a new CMO at a company that you want to engage with. You can go hop onto HubSpot and find, 10 things new CMOs need to do in their first 90 days. I don't know that they have something, but there's a ton that's out there, and you can just congratulate them on the new role and say, hey, I don't know if you're interested, but there's a really great HubSpot article on, you know, what to do in your first 90 days. If you're interested, let me know. I'm happy to send over a link. You've now provided value that, to your point, Stan, in that case, your name isn't really on it, but you've provided value to them that has nothing to do with your solution. And they really feel like they matter, right? That's
Mhm,
value. That's,
mhm.
I think it's really important that we slow down our outreach to speed up our conversations. Right? Like I do. So I
Yes.
love that. And I think that new career decision maker change is great. Make sure though that you are sharing content that they care about, not content you want to share. There's a difference that you want them to know.
Mhm.
And I just thought of something that I think could be very powerful is find out the company's clients. You could probably look on their website and see some of their best client logos and see who they
Yeah,
help and who they serve, and maybe even find content about trends that are happening in their clients' industries.
clients.
Right now, you've really gone one step deeper. And if they're new to the company, they may have great experience as a CMO, but maybe not necessarily in this tiny niche of the new company. So if you can provide them some value around understanding their client, oh my gosh, what an impact you can have.
Wow. Yep, that is awesome. That's like a triple win,
Cool.
both for you, for them, and for their client because they can use that to add value to
Yeah.
their client.
Love it.
Good deal. Okay, we're going to shift gears and move over to leads
Okay.
next. And there are lots of different filters associated with leads. One of them is engagement, just letting you know when someone's looked at your profile or messaged you or otherwise engaged with you. And so, again, those are driven by the leads that you have
Hmm.
saved. So make sure that you save you save your accounts, your prospects, etc. So engagement, say someone's looked at your profile because sometimes it's hard to keep
Hmm.
up with. And what Sales Navigator does is it says, "Hey, take a look here," or just by putting things right in front of you in alerts. So any thoughts just on lead engagement?
Yeah,
Someone
so lead
looks at you.
engagement is interesting, and I am not 100% on everything that it pulls up, but if they view your profile, if they visit your company page, if they engage on content that your company put out there, you will get notified. And this trigger is, really about you being on their radar. Your company is on their radar. Right? So are they shopping right now? It's a powerful, especially if you're in a big company, it's a very powerful
Mhm.
tool that there's almost no way you could know this any other way. Marketing might understand a little bit of what's going on, but if you have a lead that's saved and you notice that they went and followed your company page, that's a hot opportunity to start a conversation. Now, are they in the market or are they just exploring? It doesn't matter. When you reach out to them, they
Exactly.
already know who your company is. So I think that that's a big one. You're not going to see a ton of activity in that one, but it is really uh, a wonderful alert that when you do see it, you need to jump on it. Now the question comes, well, what do I do? Do I say, hey, I noticed you followed my company page? Yes, it's okay. It's social media. People are like, oh, well, does that mean that I'm spamming them? They followed your page. So you could actually reach out.
Exactly.
Stan, I noticed you followed our company page. I took a look at your profile, and it looks like, we have 3 or 4 shared connections and you've got some really great content. I'd love to answer any questions that you might have. Can I ask what brought you to our company page today? Right? Ask that question. What brought you
Exactly.
there? I think it's a good opportunity to have that conversation.
So true, because lots of these people will not contact you otherwise. They're doing their
Mhm,
research, they're looking at different places, but they will not reach out to you. So the fact that Sales Navigator shows you who's doing that type
mhm.
of research, as Brynne mentioned, especially if you're a large company, you would not know otherwise. So good opportunity to jump on those and start a relationship. Another alert that sounds familiar but is slightly different when it's applied to leads is career
Mhm,
changes. So for accounts, new decision makers, usually it's someone that has come in, say, from the outside or something like that. But when it comes to career changes, a lot of times those are
mm,
promotions. Um, Sometimes people leaving one company to go to
mhm.
another, or maybe one of your champions at one company leaves and goes to another company. So, Bryn, when you see, say that, for example, your champion, the person that brought you into XYZ company, all of a sudden they leave and they're in a new position, probably at a higher level at another company. What do you do in a case
So there's
like
2
that?
opportunities, right? There's the opportunity that opened up in the company they left, and there's the new opportunity. So the new opportunity, obviously, we want to go out and provide value to the champion. I wanna get inside scoop from the champion too. Did Who's taking over? Do they know? Is it an internal promotion? So I wanna get into the new company, but I actually would start the conversation with, "Can you help me navigate the old company?" Right? I'm just starting this up, who should I talk to? Can I mention your name? Do you still have a good relationship with them? What is your feeling? Do you think this is still an open opportunity or do you think it's not? They'll give you way more information after they leave than they will when they're there, right? Because they're not
Yep.
holding tight to a budget. You can find out about budget constraints. How do they make their decision? You can learn a lot about the old company. But there's now this opportunity in the new company as well. But a lot of this, if this is your champion, then likely you've had many conversations with them before, or a few at least. So they know what you do. They know, and you can say, "Look, I don't know what your goals are for this new organization, but if there's anything I can do to support you, please let me know. No pressure. You don't have, we don't have to do business, but I'd really love to help you succeed here." I'm going to tell a quick story. Um, Daryl Prale was at VanillaSoft, and absolutely adore him. But he never bought at VanillaSoft. He was my champion. We were on podcasts and we've done things together and lots of things together. And then he moved to Agorapulse. And within a week, Agorapulse was my new client. It was the right time, the right place, the
Whoa.
right conversation, right? Because I nurtured and reached out immediately, he's like, "You know what? We should talk." But he was brought in to make an impact. So it was awesome.
Mm,
But that was a perfect example of, I saw the new change in Sales Navigator and I reached out and the timing was right. A lot of this is timing, but you've got to nurture and continue to bring value and detach from what the prospect is worth to you and attach to what you are worth to the prospect. So when you do that, when the time is right, the sale will happen. It just will.
mm. Yep, yep, and you just have to be there. So as Bryn said, the one of the things when people move, I'll bet did Daryl reach out to you and say, "Hey, Bryn, I'm moving,"
No,
or
I
did you
saw it on
see it?
LinkedIn and I reached out and I'm like, I think I said something goofy. Oh, I might have sent a video message, but I'm like, I don't want to be just another congrats on your page, right? Like I think I sent a little video message. And then he just said, we should talk. And then I don't even know, he copied me in an email with Lisa, right? Like, and I worked with Lisa, and like, it was done like that. It was amazing. So, that's why this is important. And he was my champion, not my client yet, but my champion, right? The person I had that relationship with internally. Um, and what you can do in this case, I didn't, and maybe we should now, but go back to the other, who took over Daryl's position? Who do I need to nurture now over at VanillaSoft? If you're listening, call me. No, right? But ultimately, like that, that's the way we need to think of things, I think.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. So, couple of things. I hope you're picking up nuggets, and these are topics we'll be talking about in the future. Different channels of communication, because Brynne said, for example, I didn't just put a like or a clap hands. I sent a
Mm.
video message, which I guarantee you, if he got one other video message from anybody else, I'd be
Mm-hmm.
surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So right there, it's a way that you can stand
Mm-hmm.
out. And the other thing is that when people move, most times they are not going to tell you, but Sales Navigator will
I
tell you.
love it.
So that's why this tool is wonderful. We're going to wrap up with shares and news. Um, lead shares, when leads actually share content on LinkedIn. It's another opportunity for you to join the conversation, to support what they're
Mm-hmm.
sharing, because when you add to the conversation um, in a non-promotional way, I'm sure I don't have to say that to this audience, but when you jump into something that they've posted, that is not the place to promote yourself. It's the place to add to the conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's interesting. These folks are sharing because they want engagement. So, couple quick things. You're going to click a view, right? You're going to see view, and it Sales Navigator is going to give you this pop-up where you can go down, like, and comment. There is no typical share button or repost from this view. So from this view, you're going to click on like. Now, don't just do a thumbs up. If it's inspiring or you learn something, do the light bulb. So if it's a celebration, clap. If it's funny, you can laugh as long as it's not laughing at them. But leverage the other reactions, because you'll stand out. And actually, the algorithm says actually comment first and then react. But don't just say great post or thanks for the post, or look at it, read it. Worst case, grab a quote from it and say love this, and have the whole quote that you love from it, or great quote by the author of the post, right? Don't just have some substance to it. Take the time to really engage. If you choose to um, go deeper into that content, you're going to want to click out into the mothership, engage beyond um, Sales Navigator if you want to do some other things on that. So just keep that in mind as you're going through. You have some limited functionality when you're engaging from Sales Navigator, which is kind of disappointing, but it is what it is. Um, you can also X things out of your newsfeed as you've engaged, so you don't have to see them anymore. But one of my favorite things is I may on a Sunday night just be scrolling through, and maybe even on mobile, and I bookmark. So maybe I'm not in a place to engage right now, but when I get on my computer Monday morning, I want to. And so there's a little bookmark that you go through and say, oh, Larry Levine, I want to bookmark this for later. Oh, Stan Robinson, I want to bookmark this for later, so that you can come back. So you don't have to feel overwhelmed or that you're going to miss things. Just bookmark them and then X them out, so it leaves the news feed.
Yeah. Yep. Thanks. So 2 great features just to make you more productive, make your life easier, because I think we've probably all been standing in a grocery line or something scrolling through, because the person on the express line has 30 items and we've got some time on our hands. So bookmark, wonderful feature. Yep. And the last one, we kind of touched on this, but it's news as it applies to leads. And people aren't often going to be mentioned in the news, but if they are, and again, it's good news, it's a wonderful opportunity to congratulate them and just to reach
Yeah, I
out.
love that, and I'm gonna emphasize, and you've said this a lot. I think 8 or 10 years ago, when I was in a congratulate, congratulate, congratulate mode, I did congratulate a company for a bankruptcy. They were in the news, not a good thing. So it is really important that you look at it, and you can do, if they are a first degree connection, they may not be, because we might save them, but if they're a first degree connection, just open up your phone and send a congratulations video. Will make all the difference in the world. If you want to create a Loom video with their image in the back, like the image of the post, or the, you can do that, right? Hey, I was scrolling through and I saw this, congratulations. Just so many ways that you can make this personal.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. Well, we're at the top of the hour. As always, this time goes by super fast. Yep. So I hope those of you who are with us live found value, and those who are watching the
Or
replay as
listening.
well. And yep, or listening. Yes, thank you. Yep. So do let us know what you'd like us to be talking about in the future. As you can tell, we have some ideas, but we're always looking for additional feedback. So, Brynne, until next
Ooh,
week.
geez. Have a wonderful Sales Navigator week. Yay!
Yes. Thanks. Bye, everybody.